fresh off handing the Minnesota Vikings their first loss of the season, getting set for a huge Sunday night football game against the Dallas Cowboys. He is the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, Doug Pederson. How are you, Coach?
Rich, I'm doing well, and just happy to get back on the winning track, that's for sure.
Well, let's talk about Carson Wentz here, because I'll be honest with you, the shocking aspect of that trade to me wasn't the most shocking, let's put it this way, wasn't trading away a starting quarterback 8 days before the season, as you did, but to go ahead and just name Carson Wentz the starter with such little experience in the preseason even. What did you see to go ahead and just say he's at the top of the flow chart, Coach?
Yeah, it's everything sort of building up to that point, meaning off-season, the couple of mini camps that we had, the way he worked and handled himself in training camp. And then ultimately it was just a decision where we said, you know what, the future's now, and we're gonna go now, and you never know until you try, obviously, and he's done everything we've asked him to do and more, and he's really helped our team be in this position that we're in, and couldn't be more pleased with how he's played and how he's led this football team.
What was the first time when you looked at Wentz? Was it either on film during the evaluation period or during preseason where you thought, this guy's got it, he gets it? When was that first time?
It was a little bit of obviously putting on his college tape and watching him, play in college, but then going to North Dakota and going to the Fargo Dome and sitting down with him for a day and just picking his brain and just seeing him in person and how he operates, and everything is business for him. And when it's football, it's football. And I knew. I did this same thing with Russell Wilson in Seattle. I had a chance to work him out, and I came away from that interview that day working him out feeling the exact same way that I felt with Carson, and it sort of have that it factor. These guys are special. These guys know what it takes to win. They're going to go the extra mile, and they're great leaders too. They're very unselfish individuals. And so I knew back when we worked him out and interviewed him that this kid was one day going to be a special quarterback.
So did you have a sense of your veteran leadership when this trade was pulled, that you thought that the locker room wouldn't turn to you and Howie Roseman and say, you did what?
You know what? I didn't have to poll the locker room. I know there was probably some doubters and some guys scratching their head. I get all that. I mean, especially some veteran players like, guys that are going, oh boy, here we go type thing. But I didn't have to. He kind of did that himself just by the way he played and handled himself, and that first week of practice, how he just jumped right into that huddle like it was his for from 2-3 years ago. I mean, that's just the way he has handled it, and the guys have really bought into him, his leadership style, his toughness, the way he prepares each week. So I didn't have to do much selling to the team. He kind of did that on his own.
Doug Pederson, Eagles head coach, joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. And Coach, I worked with Jim Morris Sr. for so many years on the NFL Network, and he told me that he and the Colts were grinding tape on Ryan Leaf right up until the minute they chose Peyton Manning. So I know you and the Eagles did a lot of due diligence on Jared Goff. Are you, like the rest of us in the national media, surprised that Goff has not had a start yet in the NFL?
Well, I don't know, obviously, their situation and the circumstances surrounding all that. I do know this, that I was set to have Carson Wentz be the third quarterback this year. And so I can relate to what Jared's going through a little bit, and the staff is going through out there, because they're wanting him to just get better with the system. They're wanting him to get used to the media. They're wanting him to get used to LA, and that was my plan with Carson. I wanted him to get comfortable with all of that and watch a veteran quarterback in Sam Bradford play here in Philadelphia and learn from that. And so I was okay having Carson, sit for however long it took, and I think that's what the Rams are going through, and it's working for them, and that's great, and they'll play Jared when Jared's ready, so he just has to do his due diligence and put himself in a position to play whenever he gets called upon.
So it's amazing, Coach. What you're saying is, it kind of dawned on me right now that Sunday Night Football tonight, this weekend, Week 8 on NBC, the whole country's going to be settling in for a battle for first place in the NFC East between two rookie quarterbacks who both teams had third on their depth chart to start the training camp season. It's amazing.
It's crazy and funny how this business works sometimes, and it's a great opportunity for obviously our team and obviously for the Cowboys. But Dak is also a player that I had a lot of interest in myself. He was one of the quarterbacks that we evaluated, and I liked him, and I'm not surprised at his success either. And the thing is too, it's you look at both teams and they're not. Both teams are not necessarily just relying on the quarterback to win games. They're playing good defense, playing good special teams, running the football. There's a formula there, too, that is helping these two guys be successful. They're not turning the ball over, things of that nature. So, it's not surprising that Dak is having the success he is.
Why do you think, somebody who spent so many years on the sidelines in the NFL, 10 years in the NFL, and then so many years as a coach, that we're seeing so many young quarterbacks perform so well? I asked this of Mayock a few weeks ago. If we've turned a corner here, have we found more quarterbacks to play at a high level at an earlier age than we've ever seen before? What do you think, Coach?
I believe that these guys are being taught the quarterback position in college. I think they're being exposed to a lot of things. They're being able to, use their brains and their athleticism. So I think the development process in college and even in some of the younger youth leagues is getting better. The coaching is getting better there. But I also think too that some of the coaches that are in the National Football League have played the position, and I think there's a correlation there between playing the position and then obviously coaching the position, because there's some great valuable experiences and life lessons even just from progressions and reads and understanding defenses, I think is very valuable for these young quarterbacks, and so that and then just the way these kids are wired. I think just speaking with Carson, he's wired a different way, a way that sometimes most players that aren't wired. He comes in at 5:30, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. He's studying the tape. He's studying blitz tape. He's going through the game plan, and he just gets it. And I think that's what you're seeing with some of the success that some of these young quarterbacks are having right now.
Spending a few more minutes with the coach of the Philadelphia Eagles at 4-2, taking on the Cowboys at 5-1 on Sunday Night Football this week. Doug Pederson here on the Rich Eisen Show. And so are you maybe looking down at your phone right now, looking to see a text from Harry Roseman saying you got a new wide receiver? Because that's what we're hearing, that you might be getting a new wide receiver, maybe from San Francisco, Coach.
Yeah, I haven't heard. Howie's brought it to my attention, but I haven't heard anything here lately, so I don't know. I just know this that the guys we have are special guys. They work extremely hard during the week and put themselves in a position to help us win football games, and it's a good group of guys, young group, and I'm pleased to be working with them.
How good is Fletcher Cox, based on all the people that you've seen throughout your career everywhere? How good is he?
Gosh, he's definitely one of the best. I had a chance to play with Reggie White. I know it's a different position, DN versus D tackle, but he's got the same explosiveness. He's got the same grit and determination. It's hard for people to stop him. He's definitely a Pro Bowl, year in and year out caliber player, and it's fun to watch him on game day because he can be very disruptive. And having a chance to play with and watch Reggie White for so many years there in Green Bay, it was the same way. It was very hard to block him, and very powerful man coming off the ball. So Fletcher's definitely in that type of a category.
And it's interesting, the Sunday night game too, Coach. It's a battle of former backups right now on the sideline, and you saw on Monday Night Football and on Sunday and the Super Bowl, Gary Kubiak winning a championship, former backup, longtime backup, and you've played, backed up Favre, you've backed up some good ones. How come backup quarterbacks are better coaches than all-time first ballot Hall of Fame quarterbacks, maybe even dream to be?
Probably because we didn't have to play quite as much, and we were obviously coaches on the sideline to those starters. Quite honestly, and I think there's something to that too. I mean, we were the ones on the sideline, kind of cranking through the defenses and helping those starters prepare and let them play at a high level, and we see it differently sometimes, and it is kind of amazing that's kind of what's happening, but we all backed up some great, Jason Garrett and Troy Aikman, and I had Brett Favre and sat behind Dan Marino for a little while. So you learn from the best, and you learn from those experiences, and you definitely carry them with you and use them now in this role.
And then lastly, I guess, isn't it fascinating when your first, tough jobs as a head coach in this league, you had to look Chase Daniel in the face and say, look, I know that you thought this might be your opportunity, but it's not. And I'm sure you would have loved to have had an opportunity in the same way that Chase thought that he had right there in Philadelphia, Coach.
Yeah, and Chase, obviously my first phone call was to Sam Bradford and then to Carson Wentz to let him know he was starting, and then to Chase. And, that was a tough one to Chase, too, because our relationship in Kansas City. And I wanted him here to compete for the starting job. And rightfully so. I'd be a little surprised if he wasn't disappointed. But yet he understands. He knows his role, and he's a tremendous leader. He's a tremendous backup, and he supports Carson so much and helps him study and prepare. That it's a valuable resource to have a quality backup in Chase Daniel. And I saw that in Kansas City for the last 3 years behind Alex Smith, and I really think it's helped Alex be the type of quarterback he is right now. So it was a tough conversation, but just because of the nature of the relationship, and he's done an outstanding job here in Philadelphia so far.
And is it true you found Wentz in a duck blind when you called him? Because that's a story we heard.
He was actually, he was lying on his back hunting geese, I believe, that day I called him.
Just like Favre, right? In a way. Right?
Very much like Favre in a way.
Very
Favre-esque.
Very.
Sure.
I went Favrean. You went Favre-esque. I like it. Coach, thanks for the time. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. I appreciate it.
You bet. That's Doug Pederson of the 4-2 Philadelphia Eagles here on The Rich Eisen Show.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.